Hi everybody, Mike O'Neill, and today I have a special guest with me, Mike. Mike, you want to tell them who you are and what you do?
Be happy to. I'm Mike Mirarchi of Mirarchi Management Group. Glad to be here.
Okay, that's who you are. What is it that you do?
I teach practical employee relations for leaders in a variety of formats. There's one specific for leaders in any organization. There's one specific for leaders in law enforcement, one for leaders in healthcare, and one for leaders in fire service. And then the most interesting one from my perspective, having been an HR VP, is practical employee relations for HR professionals.
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't start out as a seminar guy, right? You didn't start out as a trainer.
That's correct. I was a company defense attorney. I worked for Frito Lay and put a legal team together consisting of in-house counsel and some outside counsel. And
you guys won a lot, right?
oh, we won every single lawsuit filed against Frito Lay in state and federal court for 5 years. And a lot of people would have been satisfied with that, but there's something bothered me about it. We had too many lawsuits that we shouldn't have.
All right, hold on. You're a bigwig lawyer working for a big corporation, and that wasn't good enough. You had to throw all that away and start this new training series. Why in the world would you do that?
I found out that while compliance-based training programs are well-intentioned, they're often short-sighted, assuming the goal is showing leaders how to avoid lawsuits in the first place. What compliance-based programs do is bring a group of managers together and give them a long list of protected statuses and tell them these things can't factor into their decisions as leaders. Well, the list is too long to remember, and by focusing employees and leaders' attention on their differences from each other, it can really destroy a team.
You know, I worked at Microsoft for a long time, 18 years, and I was a manager for most of that time. That's exactly what they did. They would teach us, here's a list of things that you're not supposed to do. And when you're having a tough employee conversation or a difficult review or something, I could never remember everything they told me I had to do in that list. So how does this differ? You're not telling them what not to do?
One of the things I discovered is that all decisions made by leaders on attendance, performance, and conduct are not attackable in court. Every time it's happened, those challenges have failed. It's a lot more effective to tell leaders what to pay attention to than what not to pay attention to. I've seen lots of leaders get fired for discriminating. I've seen lots of leaders get fired for not discriminating. There's
You
lots.
can't win as a leader.
Well, there's illegal discrimination like race, age, sex, and so on. But there's 3 mandatory things managers have to discriminate on. If a manager cannot make decisions on attendance, performance, and conduct, they need to find something else to do.
Right. So in other words, if I make a decision that's not based on those 3 things, what are they again? Attendance,
performance, and conduct. That's right.
So if it's not based on those 3 things, I risk, in essence, I have a liability that I could get hauled to court.
That's correct. But decisions on those 3 things, attendance, performance, and conduct, cannot be attacked successfully in court.
Let me make sure I understand what's going on. So you had this great career. You were winning every single lawsuit. But in winning every single lawsuit, you were losing because you're paying out, even though you won, you're still paying out big legal fees and court costs and the like.
There's lots of negative consequences when an organization wins lawsuits.
Like what?
Well, there's litigation costs, attorney's fees, expert witness fees, court costs. Okay? Those are 3 right off the bat, just from winning the lawsuit.
Plus, I would imagine damage to your...
Your ethics, reputation gets destroyed in court. People are suspect of your attitudes,
your intentions, everything else.
Yes.
So winning can, in this case, actually be losing, unless I understand that, and make sure I got this right, if I apply it to those 3 principles, then I'm not going to be pulled into court. And the idea is to avoid going to court in the first place.
Yes, it's not too difficult to get leaders and managers to understand what's going to make an organization succeed. An organization, no matter whether it's a hospital, a defense contractor, a school system, a college, how well the employees and the managers are all focused on what matters: attendance, performance, and conduct.
Okay, so I can't remember all the things they tell me not to do. What you're going to do is tell me things I should do, but how am I going to remember all those?
Well, you don't have to remember it. Leaders don't have to remember it. At the beginning of the 2-day training program, I tell them that you don't have to memorize anything, except I have a book that has a solutions finder in the front of it that goes through all the different scenarios managers have to know. So when they come to a situation, they can go to the solutions finder, look up the script they need to use, deliver the message. If an employee says, hey, you just read it out of a book, well, yes, I did. I'm glad you noticed it. I'm adding it to my notes you noticed it out of the book. Credibility instead of liability.
So you can actually just pull it open and read verbatim, but by doing that, you're legally protecting yourself that you covered the bases.
That's correct.
And a court of law would recognize that as well.
Yes, a court of law would recognize that you have done these things the right way. As soon as a judge knows that you made a decision on something other than attendance, performance, or conduct, he's got jurisdiction over that case. If the decision is just on attendance, performance, or conduct, there's no statutory rule that can be used to attack decisions on attendance, performance, conduct.
Is this what you mean when you say reset the clock? Is that what we're doing? Is we're putting back to a time? How does that?
Reset the clock is something I recognize from reading a lot of court cases. It prevents a plaintiff attorney from taking anything the leaders did wrong or didn't do in the past and using it to attack future decisions they make. So in effect, by using this material, the attendee leaders' liability clocks have been reset to zero, and so is their employer, which is why a lot of employers have made the course mandatory for all leaders in the organization. I never thought I'd be sitting here today talking about having put 28,000 leaders for 900 employers through this program across the United States. I've actually delivered it in Canada and Panama as well.
So you've already trained 28,000 people. How many seminars?
Close to 1,200
Wow.
of the 2-day seminar.
And how many of these are repeat? I mean,
I get a lot of repeat business. For one defense contractor, I've done it 95 times, another 48.
Wow.
I have many that I've done the program above 50 times.
Now, is that because there's new people coming out, or is that because there's new legal issues coming out, or is that just because they need a refresher every so often?
Well, there was a problem I had at Frito Lay when I was buying consultants' time. They come in and they charge by the head, they charge for materials, they don't customize anything. So when I became a consultant, I decided I would not charge by the head, I would not charge for materials, and I would fully customize everything, which means in preparation for this program, I have to get the employee handbook, the employment application, the exit interview form, and everything in between there's the way of a document, and I make sure it's state of the art. So no plaintiff attorney can say your policies, your practices, your procedures, they're not as good as they should be. Really? Compared to who? And embarrass them.
Well, hold on, I got to ask this because I think I heard you just say you don't charge per attendee.
That's correct.
So when someone puts on a seminar, I could flood it with as many leaders of my company, managers that I want. I could have 30 people in there.
I have had employers put 100 plus people in the program. The problem is this: when it gets above 60, what shows up on the evaluations is there wasn't enough time for us to get all our questions to Mike. Okay, so that's an issue.
So you lose some of that interactivity. Now, you also, if I understand, you said you're not really charging advice-wise. If someone comes, and let's say they have a specific example, maybe they're embarrassed to even talk about it in class, or it's too personal, or the other people will know who they're talking about. Can they call you after hours, and are you going to charge them?
This program is highly interactive. I'm forming the entire room into teams of 3 and tell them when they handle various scenarios, of which I've already given them the tools in the scenario to apply, that give me one answer. If your team is split 2 to 1, don't reveal it, so no one has a chance of being potentially embarrassed. And by the end of not too deep into the program, they're able to figure out what the right answer is, and it works out very well. They get to know each other a little better than they ever had before, and it works out very well. But there are 3 ways questions get answered. During the program, I tell them if it's a question we're on, You give me your, if we're on a particular issue and you want an answer to a question, ask it as it occurs to you. I'll give you an answer right then. But I also tell them, if you have a question that you'd like to ask me in private, see me at a break. But everyone also gets my cell phone number and my email address, so I'll handle questions after the session forever. I don't charge for advice. I tell the leaders that my job is to make you self-sufficient. If I haven't done that, that's my problem, not yours. Call me up. You're going to get help, not a bill.
Wow. I get why you've decided to go this route. It sure seems that there's a lot of companies out there that can use this. Reset the Clock is a 2-day seminar. Make sure I got this right. Mm-hmm. They can invite as many people as they want to from their organization to come in. It's interactive. It's fun, sounds like.
Yes.
Plus, I get to walk out with a cool manual that's indexed so that in any given situation, I can tab right to my solution finder, prep myself, and have a much more better conversation.
What's fun for me in the session is because I've customized it and built their policies, practice, procedures, a lot of times the managers are asking each other, how does he know so much about us, how we operate? Because I did my homework.
You read the employee manual, you know the handbook. And these employee manuals are perfect every time, I assume, right?
No, there's often a lot of problems with them. I remember getting ready to do a program for a large employer, and they gave me the employee handbook, and I went through it, and it was full of Post-it notes for changes. And I gave it to the HR VP, and he said, Mike, we just paid a large law firm a lot of money to write this thing, and you just shredded it. I said, you have to understand something. Way too many times law firms write handbooks so they can defend them. I write them so you don't have to defend them. It's a completely different mindset.
That is awesome. All right, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I want to take the next step. What's the best way to get in contact with you? Should I go out to the website? Should I email you? Should I call you?
It's up to you. I can be reached through my website, resetclock.com. I can be reached through my email address. I can be reached through my phone number.
The website is Reset Clock, not Reset the Clock.
That's correct. Resetclock.com. Yeah, I grew up with scientists and engineers. I like to be efficient. So I took the thought out.
Either that or the name was taken. One of the two, but it all works out. Fantastic. Anything else you'd like to fill us in on this before we close this out?
I look forward to helping you and your leadership team reset the clock. Thank you.
Thank you.